Hi, this is Frank Schaefer, and I am incredibly optimistic right now about the 2024 election and the future of the United States. You know, we're living in a time and participating in a time when rage is driving the political debate on all sides of the spectrum. And we live in our own little media bubbles. We consume material that reinforces our own viewpoints, and I'm afraid bigotry across the whole spectrum, left and right. But let me take a moment to tell you why I am so hopeful about the future of the US. First of all, let me tell you that Donald Trump will run against President Joe Biden, and he will lose. Donald Trump will be the nominee, so will Joe Biden, and Joe Biden will beat him by a bigger percentage than even the last time around. So much so that the next time, the Republicans who are getting heartily sick of Donald Trump's machinations and pretenses of having won an election he actually lost will stick with the results. And yes, there'll be some extremists who say otherwise, but the result will be accepted. And because Joe Biden has done such a masterful job in bringing our economy back, and the recession that so many people talked about is not and will not happen, the next go-round of the Biden presidency, the second term, is going to usher in one of the best periods of American history in terms of jobs and the economy and things people measure and care about. But more importantly than that, because the economy is not what brings us joy in this life. It is family relationships, connection, falling in love, being ourselves, finding the time to do the things that we love. People are going to, at that point, really have gotten past what the COVID epidemic did to us psychologically, physically, morally, spiritually. The extreme on the religious right and the white Christian nationalist movement is going to run out of steam as people my age, I'm 70, begin to pass on, to say it nicely. And the younger generation of right-wing extremists, the kind of people that you see online dominating the airwaves, as it were, flooding us with all this kind of terrible garbage from both the left and the right, the extremists, the fanatics on both sides are going to simply get tired, because in the face of the overwhelming success of the American economy and where our standing in the world is, which is going up immeasurably with the reinvigoration of Europe as a united front against the horrible aggression of Vladimir Putin, this nation that has attacked Ukraine, these rapists, these torturers, these people who are going to eventually face trial in The Hague from the World Court, yes, that will happen, will also be losing steam. And that horrible story is going to end well, not with nuclear war, but with a whimpering, beaten Russia retreating back further into its borders, giving up on its imperial dreams of conquering Europe by force, which is what Vladimir Putin had in mind. You know, as I look at America, one of the reasons that makes me so hopeful is the fact that we are right now the only nation on earth struggling valiantly to become a truly multicultural society. This is the nightmare of white Christian nationalists. And these Christian nationalists that hark back to a time when people my color were in charge, people my gender were in charge. You know, the arc I've had to travel in my own 53-year marriage to Jeannie, where I've found such joy, has taken me, and excuse this language, from being someone who was bred, as it were, cultivated, indoctrinated to be an asshole by divine right. In other words, told that the Bible puts men in charge, women should be subservient, we should discipline children. I broke free from that with some therapy. Yes, mental health is an issue for me. Suffering from depression, anger issues I came out of my fundamentalist background with. You got a problem with that? Yes, therapy. Some spiritual moral guidance from a wonderful monk on Mount Athos in Greece, a monastic community there. Even though I have left religion behind in a formal sense, I still am smart enough to draw on the spiritual resources that are offered me. Well, guess what? There are millions of other Americans in this position, including older white men my age, don't give up on us, you know, okay, boomers, who have seen a different way of being alive. You know, I often write and talk about my marriage to Jeannie and the joy I get from that. the real pleasure of life, living with her as a human-to-human relationship, one that is open to anyone, whether you are gay or straight or non-binary or trans. The important thing here is not to imitate my 53-year monogamous relationship in which I found joy, but to imitate the closeness of connection. You know, I often talk about the fact that in our household, foreplay means the way we live together. It isn't only when we have sex together. And yes, sex after 70 can be very good if it's with someone you are close to, having real conversations with, loving, living with. But foreplay involves all sorts of things besides just what happens in the bedroom, however vivacious and lovely that is. It involves the conversation. Jeannie, what are you thinking about? It involves opening a car door for her, and to hell with anybody who doesn't like that and who thinks that somehow this is demeaning of women. Jeannie does things for me too that are not demeaning of me, like all our taxes and finances, because she's a wizard. And she has done so much better than I did. I don't even know where the checkbook is. The old thing that used to be said about housewives who didn't do any business and the men took care of everything. In our house, it's reversed. There were plenty of years she earned more money than me. The joy and the relief of having a partner who is so sophisticated and so good at things that I wasn't good at as an artist and a writer, bumbling along, investing in the wrong stuff till she just took everything over. The fact that she kept drawing the line and saying, you can't do this anymore. You can't shout at me anymore. You can't harass me anymore. Get help, change. And I did. That's where the joy of life is. What's foreplay for us in our house? Opening a car door for Jeannie. By the way, I do all the cooking. I do all the grocery shopping. I do all the dishes. I clean the kitchen. Not because Jeannie said she's got some new feminist mantra wherein men have to do these things. I do it for the pleasure of seeing her happy. That's the motivation. I do it for the pleasure that I get out of taking care of my 3 youngest grandchildren, picking them up at school, caring for them. I do the driving so that Nora, 9 years old, can go to a party on a Friday night at her school. I do the pickup. Why? To give her parents the pleasure of having a Friday off. Why am I hopeful about our country? Because I think this resonates with a lot of people. There's a lot of us who don't live in a politically hysterical realm. We live in the real world. And that includes some people who voted for Donald Trump. Sorry, my left-wing friends. They are not all evil people. That includes my left-wing friends who are all into the language, the correct, politically correct language coming out of universities to describe gender and some of the extremism that goes with that. More power to them. I'm glad that we have a kinder, gentler generation coming along, worrying about our planet. The future belongs to them. I believe in them. I believe in the genius of the kids that my son, who teaches physics, coach, who went off and won a world championship when it came to robotics and coding. I believe in that future generation. They are going to solve our problems. We are going to be okay. And the anger mongers who make all the money on Fox News or MSNBC and commentators like me who are always talking passionately about how evil the Christian nationalists are, that's my shtick, okay? At a certain point, we have to take a deep breath and say, look, take a look around. Foreplay is taking care of each other. You want good sex? Open the car door for your lover. You want good sex? Do the dishes. You want good sex? Do the cooking and cleaning. You want good sex? You want good relationships? Give the person you love the time to find themselves, to take care of themselves. In my relationship with Jeannie, that's time in Jeannie's sewing room, time to design, time to create. For me, it's the time to write, the time to paint some of the things you see around me, the time to garden. The greatest gift we give each other is time. We're going to be okay. You know why? Because there's plenty of trans kids who are a third or 20% of my age who understand this and are taking care of each other. There's plenty of gay couples that understand this and have better relationship than many heterosexual couples have got. There's plenty of people who got divorced and screwed up their first marriage, but they're making a go of their second marriage, irrespective of statistics on second marriage or third marriage failures. We all keep trying, don't we? I tried with my anger management. I tried to get past it, and I did. And yes, we have all kinds of problems in this country, but we also have so many good things going for us. Joe Biden has been the best president of my lifetime, dealt the worst hand any president in my lifetime has been dealt. Only in Franklin Roosevelt do we find a comparable situation. And guess what? He's getting closer to being like Franklin Roosevelt every day because he is dealing with the aggressiveness of Putin and Russia and handling it masterfully. He has brought the West back together. For those of us on the left who kind of think that to be woke and to be clued in is to denounce our background because we had slavery, because we were racist, and because we still are in so many ways these horrible people, there is hope. A kinder, gentler, better generations coming along, questioning eating meat, killing things that have a face, as it were, and going more towards a vegetarian or vegan diet, less red meat that will destroy less rainforests, less consumption, more alternative energy forms like my daughter Jessica and her company work for. That's her business. And I have a grandson who's made a life's work out of alternative regenerative farming. In my own family, that's happening. It's happening with millions of people. I am so far from giving up hope. I am so far from seeing the future as grim. I am so far of seeing everything through a dark, sorrowful lens. If someone crafted to be an asshole by divine right, dominate his wife, scream at her, throw his weight around, can learn, okay, it's taken 53 years, it's been a long marriage. Thank God for Jeannie lifting me up again and again and again, literally as I lay on the floor in depression, and her standing me back up again and saying, okay, you may want to kill yourself, but we still need to take the dog for a walk. You may want to die, but the kids still have to be dropped off at school. Thank God for this towering goddess of a brilliant woman who lifted me up again and again. Am I the only person who found that kind of love? No, I know other people, men and women, trans people, non-binary people who have also found love and support in their life through friends and parents and others. We are the majority, not the fanatics, not the people who hate, not the extremists of the left and right, not the language police of the left and right, burning books and throwing them out of libraries in DeSantis's Florida or on left-wing campuses, writing off all of Western civilization because it was white people. Too bad. There are still good things in the Enlightenment. There are still good things in the Renaissance. Yes, they were hypocrites. They preached equality and justice and they didn't practice it. Join the club. We are all hypocrites. Deal with us as we are. The human race is a struggling race in formation. We are still evolving. But guess what the new mantra of evolution is? It is the survival of the friendliest, the survival of the most cooperative, not the fittest in the sense of those who dominate others. And so I am full of hope. The next election belongs to the Democrats. Joe Biden is a masterful president. Trump is a washed up, sad little shadow of a losing white degenerate male of the worst kind, a molester of women, a liar to his soiled underpants, a nasty piece of work. He's history. The future belongs to us, whether you're 70 like me or an 18-year-old trans kid just transitioning. Have hope. The madness of the Republican Party will be defeated. The future belongs to us. My name is Frank Schaeffer.